guys can see that ijtihad. Ijtihad can also mean like what a scholar of fiqh does, but it also means effort. So ijtihad actually means effort. Imam Nawawi rahimahullah, he says, the student of hadith should not let shyness or pride prevent them from making an all-out effort in acquiring knowledge. Two things stop you. Either you're shy or you're proudful. You might have pride, so pride stops you from asking a question, like, I don't want to look dumb. That's a little bit takabbur. And shyness also. So maybe you're not arrogant, but you're so shy that you cannot ask, and you won't get your answers. So he says he should not be prevented from seeking knowledge from those who are younger than him, or those who are of lesser noble households, or any other barrier. So Imam Nawawi says, if someone's younger than you but they have knowledge, there's no problem. Gain from them. That's a sign that you have less arrogance. If you can go to someone younger and gain knowledge from them, that's a good sign. And he says, if you're a noble, you come from the household of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you're a Sayyid, then if you shouldn't feel bad that going to an average person and they don't even know their lineage. So don't let that stop you. He said Imam Mujahid, he was a student of Ibn Abbas, he's reported to have stated, the bashful and the arrogant cannot learn. Right, so, and then Imam Nawawi also says, if the teacher is harsh with the students, they should be patient. They should be patient. Depends on what type of harshness, but we were very patient with our teachers as well. You shouldn't, show any kind of anger towards the teacher if they're harsh. Nowadays, teachers can't be harsh anymore. So that's why I don't try to be harsh. Okay, so next, inshallah. And again, if you guys have questions, if you're taking notes and stuff, you can just write it on the side if you don't have time to put it on Slido. Intellect, aqal. So this is a condition. Sometimes a person has all the other conditions, but they don't have intellect, and it's not going to be easy for them to gain knowledge. So this is something sometimes Allah gives you, but you should never feel bad. Sometimes if you try hard enough, Allah will open up for you. You don't have the intellect, you don't have the capability of retaining it, but if you try hard enough, Allah will open up for you. Imam al-Sha'bi, rahimahullah, a great muhaddith, he says, the person in whom two qualities are found should be the only ones seeking knowledge. He said no one else should seek knowledge, just a person who has two qualities, intellect and worship. He says you need both, you can't have one. If you have both, then you're ready to gain knowledge. Obviously, he's already assuming you have ikhlas and all of that. But he says intellect and worship. He says if you have one and not the second, then you won't be able to gain knowledge. If they're intelligent but they're not keen on worship, they will say, these sciences are only for those who worship, so I'm not going to seek it. So if someone has a lot of intelligence, rocket scientist, right, or a surgeon, or all these different types of really smart people, if they don't care about deen and Islam, they'll say, okay, this stuff is for religious people. What do I have to do with it? So that's what he's saying. And then he says, if he's a worshipper but not intelligent, he will say, these sciences are meant only for intelligent people, so I'm not going to seek it. He does a lot of ibadah, he does a lot of tahajjud and recitation, he's pious. But when he starts to learn, he's like, nah, this ain't for me. It's too hard, intricate stuff. This is for smart people. So he won't seek it. But when you find someone with both of these qualities, they can grasp it, they have a zawq for it, a taste and desire for it, and they have ibadah, they will succeed. So you need to have both intellect and ibadah. Perseverance. Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah said, those who seek this knowledge with laxity and affluence, meaning you're lazy and you're very wealthy and living luxuriously, they will not be successful. Rather, those who seek it with humility, hardship, and service to knowledge will be successful. So he says, be humble, work hard, and serve knowledge. Then you'll have success. Meaning, keep pushing hard. This is perseverance. You're humble, you're going through difficulty, you keep doing it, you're serving knowledge. Sometimes knowledge comes after a long time. Like some of you guys are studying here in tajweed and stuff like that. And you want to become a tajweed master in a year. I studied tajweed for 5 years and then qira'at for 2 years. And in my 4th year, I was still making mistakes. I was still catching mistakes. Actually, when I went to qira'at, I was still making mistakes. So that takes years. Even though the tajweed books are like so thin. If you look at this, tajweed books aren't big. You can read it in a day, right? And some of you study with me the tajweed books. You can read it in a day if you want to. But put it into practice is difficult. So don't lose hope. It takes time. It takes practice over and over, right? So it takes a long time. You have to have patience. It's not a, we're actually doing a crash course, but actual knowledge is not a crash course. This is an intro. Then understanding and research. So Imam Nawawi rahimahullah, here the Arabic it says التفقه والضبط للمرويات والمسموعات. Deep understanding, tafaqquh. Al-dabt means, you guys will get very acquainted with this word dabt. It's one of the conditions in hadith. Dabt is like to make sure something is accurate. Of marwiyat are narrations, masmu'at, things that you hear. So meaning a depth of understanding and accuracy in narrations and things that you hear. That's what Imam Nawawi was saying. But I just wrote understanding and research. So I'll read a long quote from Imam Nawawi. Let's try to pay attention. I know when I read the quotes, it gets kind of hazy. It says, greed should not make the student lazy in listening to and acquiring more hadith, thus leading to them not fulfilling some conditions. Meaning, sometimes when you have a lot of teachers, back then in his era, the more teachers you had, the more, famous you become. So sometimes students get greedy and they say, okay, instead of like really learning the stuff, just go sit with him and then leave him and go sit with another one. Like these riwayat, like you guys got the hadith musalsal bil awwaliya from me. So now you say, okay, I got it from this guy. Let me go to the other sheikh and ask him for the awwaliya. Okay, got it from this guy. Let me go to another one. He says, don't become greedy. Learn, take some time. Then he says, it's not proper for a student of hadith to limit themselves to their heard, acquired narrations and books without understanding them. All of this requires a little bit of explanation. So Imam Nawawi is talking about muhaddithin. So he's saying, if you, the students of hadith, as we'll learn later, they just hear stuff. They don't necessarily learn it. Like, there's a difference between learning the meanings and learning the words. A muhaddith, he doesn't really care about the fiqh that you could get from a hadith. Like, what does this, what can I extract from this hadith? Not necessarily. Muhaddithin, they don't really care about that. As fuqaha, they deal with that. Sometimes you get a muhaddith who's also a faqih. That means he looks deeply. But the muhaddithin, they care about like memorizing the narration. Like, what does the word say? I need to memorize it. That's all they care about. They'll read to you, memorize hadith, one after the other. You ask him, what does it mean? He's like, I don't know. Like he'll understand the Arabic, but like, what can I extract from that? He won't know necessarily. So he says, don't do that. Don't just memorize and just read hadith or listen to a sheikh and then just move on. He said that'll lead to wasting your life. And then he basically says, learn the fiqh of hadith. Go into the depth of the hadith and understand what meanings you can take out of the hadith. Learn the Arabic language. Learn the grammatical rulings. Learn the names and the biographies of the narrators. Learn the difference between authentic and weak. Research all of these different things. And if you do this, then inshallah you'll become a true muhaddith. So Imam Nawawi, he was a faqih and a muhaddith. He was like a great scholar. So he's saying, don't just listen to stuff, but get more. For instance, maybe some of it's a little vague. I gave you guys a hadith musalsal bil awwaliya, right? Who understood what I was saying in Arabic? No one. Even if you just walked away and I didn't explain anything, you're still a narrator. You got the narration. So some students of hadith would do that. They would understand because they would know the Arabic, but they couldn't extract like, okay, this meaning is this and that. Imam Nawawi is saying, get more than just that. Don't just listen to shuyukh and just get the sanad and be like, okay, I learned from 100 different sheikhs and I got all these asanid. Learn the deeper meanings, learn how to apply it, and then you'll be a true muhaddith.